Welcome to Jurassic Reviews. Today we'll be taking a look at another Jurassic World Dino Rivals figure. This time the Coelurus. The Coelurus is part of the Attack Pack group of figures, which are the cheapest in the line. They tend to not really have any action features, but honestly some of them have been the best Mattel has released. This one is no different. The Coelurus is also part of the second wave of Dino Rivals figures. I think I have forgotten to mention what waves figures were a part of for my Jurassic World reviews so far. I just have a hard time keeping track of these things with so many different figures coming out. Not to mention the amount of repaints. Anyway, before we begin, let's see how the Coelurus stacks up with other figures from this line. Here it is next to a Mattel 3 3/4 scale human and a Kenner 4-inch human. Here it is next to a Velociraptor. Here it is next to the Ceratosaurus. And here it is next to the Albertosaurus. And finally, here it is next to the Tyrannosaurus Rex. Let's start by looking at the box that it comes in. Here's the front of the box, and here's the back of the box. And here's the collector's card that is included with this figure. As you could probably already tell with the comparisons, the Coelurus is one of the smallest figures in Mattel's line released so far. It stands 3.5 inches tall and is about 6.5 inches long from head to tail. So yeah, this figure is tiny. The sculpt itself is really well done. For being such a small figure, it still has a great amount of detail. And being such a cheap figure, the plastic doesn't feel as cheap as some of the figures Hasbro was putting out in their Jurassic World line. Looking over the figure, you'll notice plenty of scales, which is really apparent when you run your fingers across it. The scales create a cool texture. They are mostly small, tiny scales, but there's also some really cool larger ones on the back of its head that look almost snake-like. The rest of the head is also nicely detailed, and even the teeth are pretty good, all things considered. Moving on to the paint, it's a combination of white, blue, and red. Its paint job actually reminds me a lot of the Ceratosaurus, both Mattel's and Hasbro's, but with blue instead of black. The bottom half of the figure is mostly white, but like many other Mattel figures, there's some dots scattered throughout it. The toenails and fingernails are unpainted and remain this white color. The top portion of the figure is red with blue stripes. The red coloring stops around the leg, but the stripes continue on down the tail. I forgot to mention there's also some bright pink paint for its tongue, and its eyes are black and it has really tiny red pupils. Overall, I really like the paint on this figure, more so than most other Mattel figures. It gives off a very vulture or scavenger-like feel to me. I'll be curious to see if this figure gets a repaint. I think they could do some cool things with it. Moving on to the articulation, it really just covers all the bases for this price. The mouth can open, both arms can move, and its legs can move. And its tail can move as well. I wouldn't really recommend messing with the tail much though. It causes the paint to appear a bit out of alignment. So it's not a ton of movement, but for a figure that costs less than $10, I think it gets the job done here. I also like that it's a neutral pose, and it stands very well. Actually, now that I think about it, most Mattel figures seem to stand just fine. The only one that I can think of that has issues is the one I've already mentioned, the Ceratosaurus, which wants to faceplant any chance it gets. This figure is currently widely available. It retails for $7.99 in most places, though I have seen some people online say they are having difficulties tracking this one down. I found mine on Amazon, though I think I remember seeing one at the Target nearest to me the last time I was there. For a rating out of 10, I give this one a 9. I really can't find too many faults with it. It's a solid figure for the price. I also love that it's another obscure dinosaur, one that's not appeared in any Jurassic toy line or any of the films. Hope this trend continues with Mattel. So yeah, pick this one up if you can find it. And that does it for the Jurassic World Dino Rivals Coelurus. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to subscribe. Thanks for watching and see you next time.